right, so let's animate the CodePen logo. We're on the CodePen page of logos.sketch, and we have a start and an end artboard. Let's get to it. In Flow, we're going to create a new project. Let's expand that. We're going to link a sketch file, logos.sketch. We're going to switch to the CodePen page. I'm going to add the start and the end artboards. We're going to hit add. Simple animation, just like that. We're going to change the stroke width so that it starts at 0.5, the fill color at 0.4, and goes to 0.75. And now we're going to play with the stroke start and stroke end. So I'm going to select this, and over here in the shape property panel, I'm going to turn the endpoint to 0. See that? Now it disappeared. It's because the stroke start and the stroke end points represent how much of the stroke, or to which part of the stroke, the line is going to be drawn. So if I just increase this a little bit, see? You can see how it draws itself in. And it'll draw in all the way until you get to 1, which is essentially the end of the shape. Just like that. Okay? Let's make this 0 again. Enter. Drag this one to 0.5. And there you go. It fades in. It's lovely, right? Now let's go and export this timeline to iOS. Well, actually, let's call this CodePen. We're going to save the file, also CodePen logo. We're going to press Command-Shift-E. We're going to make sure that that timeline is selected and iOS is selected, and we're going to export. Open that folder. There we go. CodePen logo, CodePen logo. Open it. There's Xcode. Let's run it on an iPhone X. We're going to hit play. There's our animation. Fill color line with stroke end. Head over to the simulator. It's loading up. There we go. Click. Perfect. Perfect. Lovely. Running in the simulator. Now, let's have a look at what this looks like when we export it to HTML. Open this folder. We're going to go to HTML. We're going to just quit Xcode. We don't need the simulator or anything anymore. Again, we're going to open that. HTML, CodePen logo, CodePenLogo.html. There it is. Let's hit play. Oh, but that animation doesn't look very good, does it? And there's something going on there. So what is actually happening here? It's not going to animate because SVGs don't have a stroke start and a stroke end point. You just can't animate them, you can't set them, whatever, you can't do anything like that. That is a characteristic that is unique to iOS. Or if you're just doing some nice animations, you can just animate things nicely like that and export a GIF. Okay, so how do you get this effect with HTML? We're going to duplicate. We're going to call this CodePen logo HTML. We're going to get rid of the beginning of the stroke end, so we want it to be 1 the entire time. And then, instead of changing the stroke start and stroke end points, we want to set the dash pattern that's down here, see? Now the easiest way to do this is to go into Sketch, select that, and now we're going to play with the dash. We're going to give it like a 10-point dash and a 1,000-point gap. Okay, so this shows us where the beginning of our shapes are, right? So you notice how as I'm changing this dash pattern, each one of those shapes is actually getting a small dash. What this shows is that the way the dashes get applied is that they get applied individually to each one of those shapes. Each one of these shapes that's underneath or that's inside that shape. They all get applied at the same time. So the same thing is going to happen in Flow. Now, what you want to do is you want to select that logo and you want the longest shape. You want to take the longest shape, okay, which is this outer edge right here, and you want that one to fill in. So what I do is I select it, I take that dash pattern, I set it to 10, and I just keep increasing until that guy gets to, I don't know, let's try 500. Okay, we've got a few more steps to go. There we go. The dash is now at 610. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's closed. I'd like to give a little bit of a buffer, so let's make that 620. I'm going to copy that value, and I'm going to go back into Flow, and I'm going to create a dash pattern that's 620 and 620. Whoop, I didn't have relative mode on, so it created a track. Let's just go and undo, turn on relative mode, again, 620, 620, and then I'm going to make this minus 620 at the beginning, and the whole thing disappears. Go to the end, make this 0. So now we're going to animate from minus 620. See that is changing right there like that to 0. We're going to drag this to 1 right there. So the direction of going from minus 620 is the offset of the dash pattern to 0. Basically shows it animating in, and then right about here, this is when all the other shapes hit their animations as well. And then everything ends at the same time. But you notice we have these little awkward ends. Those are the end points of the shape. Let's turn on relative mode again. We're going to change the line cap like that from butt to round. There's also square. You could do that as well. And to make all the corners look the same, we're also going to change the line joins to round as well. And we're going to do this. There you go. So there's an HTML version of the same technique. Now, if we go and export that to HTML, select that. Okay, so we have HTML selected. Let's export that guy. Open the folder. HTML CodePen logo. Double click. Oh, nice. Right, so that's super nice. And you can see too is that it is slightly different than the iOS one because we're using a different technique. That's what you get.